Hi everyone. I hope you all are doing well and I hope you all are doing amazing from wherever you all are joining in. Before we get started, I would just like to get a quick heads up if you all can hear me. I'm looking at the comment section as well, so just let me know. Just like say a hi or whatever you want to, or just tell and drop where exactly you're joining us from. And yeah, we should be good to get started with. Okay, I hope I'm live and I'm audible to everyone. Now, what we'll do is we'll quickly get started and I'll start by sharing my screen. So let's get started. Okay, awesome. The comment section still looks a little bit dull and down. Can I just get a show of hands before we get started? Like you all are joining in, from where exactly you all are joining, and how many of you are actually going to join us in for the in-person hackathon? If you can just share anything, what you are feeling exactly right now, anything that will be really good, so that I know I'm not just talking to myself and we have people joining in from here, and then we can get started with the talk. Awesome. Hey, hi, Subradatta. Hello, hi. Okay, sounds good. I have gotten the heads up that I wanted. Thank you so much for providing that. Now let's get started with with my call, with my talk. So today I'm here to talk about Agentic API development, where I want to share about how we as Postman have embraced the agentic era and how we have gone above and beyond. How our engineering team has gone above and beyond in changing how exactly APIs work and how to basically cope up with the ever changing APIs, and what we have done till now in this particular front. Before we get started, I would just like to share a little bit about myself. So, once again, hi everyone. I'm Aanchal Mishra. I'm a developer advocate here at Postman. And apart from that, I'm in general a community person. So you will often find me delivering a lot of talks at conferences, some hackathons, mentoring and judging at hackathons. By the way, I'm also going to be there at GenAI Mumbai Hackathon as well. So I'm super excited to see all of you who are joining in person for the hackathon. And yes, this is, I call it like a pretty small hall of fame of myself where I love to take pictures and I just add them on my hall of fame. And yes, in general, I'm always excited to chat and talk about everything tech. Specifically, my interest lies in machine learning, AI, GCP, and also APIs. So all things APIs. So yes, I'm also going to share my social links, like links to all the socials at the end of my talk. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you all. And yes, keep the conversations going on. Okay. Before we get started with the topic, I also want to share a couple of things that I have added. We have something we have tried to, uh, basically give something to everyone who is actually enthusiastic about Postman or APIs in general. So what we are doing is while this session is live, I'm running in swag giveaway for specifically this will be for Twitter's Twitter platform. What you can do is whatever you're learning in this particular session, you can share your learnings on the platform Twitter or now called as X. And then you can use the hashtags get postman and Achal Mishra. And then we will pick top 5 good tweets who will win the swag kit. So I'll reach out to you with the follow-up form, Google form, and then you can fill out that form and then we will get the swag shipped to you. Okay. Apart from that, I'm also super excited to announce that we are doing a best use of Postman agent mode track during the hackathon where you can participate with your main project. Now, just to tell you a brief about what exactly this is going to be about and how you can participate. So, what we need to do is, what you need to do in order to participate in this particular track is to build with Postman agent mode. And don't worry if you are hearing it for the very first time, because this talk is going to cover exactly the same. So I'm going to tell you about what exactly Postman agent mode is, how you can use that, and how exactly it becomes handy in terms of when you're working with your APIs, especially during hackathons or any collaborative project that you work on. So what you need to do is you need to use Postman's AI agent mode in order for anything, whatever best use case you find in your hackathon specific to your particular project. And then you need to use them, you basically need to work with them on during your hackathon APIs. Apart from that, it's very important that you document everything. You can also use Postman AI agent for that as well. So you can even use that. You can even use AI agent mode for documenting your APIs so that they are not just human readable, also AI readable as well. And then you need to share your workspace. So I'm going to share a form with you all after this particular session, and where you can actually, so even if you're not joining us in person, that's not a problem at all. We will be selecting some winners in for the input, like for the virtual people as well. So if you're participating right away from your home, you can actually get started with this particular track right now, after you have participated in this particular talk, and you now have understood what exactly is Postman agent mode. And then you can also go ahead and fill that submission form where you can share all of these details, and then we will choose some winners. But what exactly the winner gets, so you will be getting an exclusive Postman swag kit from our side, and that will be, of course, a limited edition specifically for this particular hackathon. And not just that, you will also get an opportunity to get a global spotlight where we will be more than happy to feature you on Postman social channels, and which definitely has a lot of developers. To be frank, they are like, to be confident, like they are basically in millions. So yes, that was all about this particular track that we are going to have during the hackathon, and you can actually participate that from your home as well. So yes, looking forward to all of your participation in this particular track, and super excited to meet you all, mentor you all during the hackathon if you get stuck and wherever, because I will be there in the hackathon as well. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you all. And yes, let's get the momentum going on. Now, before we even get started with Postman agent mode, let's take a moment to talk a little bit about Postman in specific. I would also love for you all to mention if you know, or if you, I'm sure like Postman is quite like a pretty popular name in terms of software development era and in terms of in between developers. But I would really love to understand what exactly are the use cases that you are currently using Postman for. I know it would be definitely around API testing or whatever, but go ahead and add what exactly are your primary use cases around Postman in your day-to-day life. But for all those who are just getting started with API development and APIs in general, what I would like to add is that let's go and get started with the basics. So what exactly is Postman? Postman is a collaborative API development platform, which basically, so in the world of to make it in more detail, specifically in terms of this particular agentic era environment, Postman is not just now like an API testing platform or an API suite. It basically has ability to cover the entire API life cycle of any particular project. Now, it can be faster API development, easier API discovery through our public API network, which is also called as PAN. It also helps you in enabling your API change management, because we know that not just the projects are changing, but also the APIs are changing forever. And specifically, it has a lot of other things in terms of access management, in terms of what all you can do. So to give you a brief about, you can basically do all things APIs on a single platform, that is Postman. You can start with designing your APIs, mocking your APIs, building your APIs, testing your APIs, documenting them, and even publishing them. So the entire API lifecycle suite can be easily covered on a single platform, and that is what Postman is doing. Okay, now with that being said, I hope we all are on the same page in terms of what exactly Postman has been doing at this particular moment and what all it actually enables us to do. But this talk is specifically going to be around what exactly and how we as Postman has have embraced the AI era world. So and how and what all we have done in this particular era. So I'm going to take a quick pause and then we are going to get started with the next thing, where I'm going to go ahead and take a little step back and start with a little bit of basics to actually first learn and understand about what exactly, where exactly this particular thing like LLM starts and how we can proceed from there. Okay. Now, the very first question I'm going to have here, I hope all of you know what exactly is an LLM. Any reply in the chat? What exactly is an LLM? What is your definition of LLM at this particular moment? Yes? What exactly is an LLM? I know I'm going to basics, but this is really very important. In order to get a more get a better understanding of what exactly we are going to learn in next couple of slides. So yes, what exactly is your understanding of what is an LLM? Okay. Now, okay, that's good. Now what I'm going to do is we are going to do a very short activity, and then what I want you all to do in that is I'm going to give you a phrase, and what you have to do is to say the next two words that come in your mind. So the game is going to be simple. This is going to be like a very super short activity. I'm going to give you a phrase, and you just need to mention in the comment section what are the next two words or what exactly are the words in the like you just have to fill in the blanks. Okay, right, whatever comes to your mind. Okay, I hope you all are ready. Okay, so the very first phrase is may the force be. Okay, I hope we are getting the answers. May the force be. Yes, Anish mentions with you. Anyone with other with any other different terms, different phrases that come to your mind? Okay. It looks like we all are on the same page, and you all have collaboratively mentioned that may the force be with you, right? So this is the next two words. Okay. Now let's talk about the next phrase, like the next phrase. Dash din mein paisa double. Okay. What comes to your mind when I say this phrase? Dash दिन में पैसा double. Okay. Yes, yes. Okay. Someone says 21. Manish is saying 21. Okay. Now, people, yeah, we are already over that, the very first phrase. So, yes. Yeah. I'm going to give you a couple of moments so that you can answer and then we'll. Okay. Someone is saying एक दिन में पैसा double, 2 दिन में पैसा double, 21 days, 25 days. Okay. A lot of different words, right? A lot of different things, right? Like someone is saying 21, someone is saying 25, someone is saying 1, thus then 21, and all of that. Now, I am not going to say, and I think we are all on the same page that none of your answers might be wrong because you all are speaking this, you all are basically mentioning these terms from whatever dialogues you have heard, right? For example, I'm not a movie freak as well, so I'm not sure about, but I go with 21 days mein paisa double. That's what I know from the phrases and the memes that I have watched on Instagram. But yes, okay, I can see, but there is like 3 4 different categories, like 21, 25, and 1 and 2. Okay, and the last one is going to be more interesting. That is, how is the josh? Okay. What are the next two phrases that come to your mind? Yes. How is the Josh? Okay. Hi, sir. Anything else? Any low Joshes here? Any low Josh? Any medium Josh? All high? By the way, I'm not a sir, so you should have. Okay, someone actually went ahead and mentioned hi, ma'am. No worries. We were actually just talking about the movie dialogue, so that's completely fine. But quick observation, right? Why no one said anything else, but only the phrases that we just discussed right now, right? Why? Because we all have watched this movie, or even if we have not, for example, I'm sorry to admit, but I have not watched this movie till now. But even though whenever someone tells this, like whenever someone comes across this, like, they say, how is the Josh? Even when I'm sleeping, I know that these are the next two words that are going to come in my mind, right? And that I'm going to speak of, right? So, what we are doing here is what we are just predicting the next word, right, in the sequence. So, what exactly we are doing is we are doing the next word prediction, meaning that we are acting as LLM. And essentially, what a LLM does is predict the next word in sequence. Okay. And not just that, LLM just not predicts the next word in the sequence. It is just that it's really, really good at it, right? And obviously, we have many different definitions of LLM, which also includes that LLM will take over the world, but that's another talk for a dinner table. Okay. But uh, Apple debunked this quite long that LLMs cannot actually think, right? So what they mentioned and what they debunked is that LLMs exactly cannot think. And it's a very good research paper with Apple. You can just go ahead and look at it. And it talks about how everyone is making LLMs think. But the reality is that LLMs cannot think, right? Because that's not something which they are actually designed to do. At the core of all of this, there is something simple, and that is prediction, right? So LLMs do not think, they predict the next most likely word. But when you stack thousands of predictions very quickly, it looks like a reasoning, right? So when you have a lot of resources at the back end, and then you predict something on top of it, it basically becomes like a reasoning, right? And that's how LLMs can basically go ahead and execute tasks. Like they can write code, they can design APIs, and they can even fix errors. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about agentic API development and what exactly it does, right? So we all have seen that LLMs write poems or summarize emails. That's cool, but it is contained, right? So the moment you go ahead and give an LLM an API, what you do is you basically give it hands. And what happens is that an API is the only way an AI can actually talk to the real world. So whether that's actually sending a Slack message, moving money to Stripe, or spinning up a server, without APIs, AI is just like a brain in jar. And I hope that's why we all now are on the same page when I say APIs power AI. What they do is that they basically let the AI take action right on top of it. So last year was the year of Rapid. If you know the context, we used LLMs to automate simple sequences that was text in and then text out, right? And then shortly we realized that we could chain things together to make workflows faster. But it was still like a very linear path, and you had to tell the AI exactly what to do at every single step. And now we are basically entering the agentic era, or I would like to say that we already have entered it. And an agent does not just follow a script, right? So it has an autonomy, right? You give it a goal and you say, like, manage my team tasks. And it decides which API to call, in what order, and how to handle the errors it encounters, right? So not just all the tasks, but it also knows, and now it can also handle the errors on top of it, right? Which actually they produce. So it does not just suggest the code, it actually executes the intent. And talking from Postman's end, actually, we have embraced this first-handed Postman that we know that to build an agent, you need three things specifically, and that is the LLM, a goal, a utility belt of tools, and Postman is that utility belt. So it's where you can basically, as I also mentioned previously, that you can design, mock, and document those tools so that an agent can understand them, right? And if the API is, I also like to say that if the API is the hand, then again, Postman becomes like a nervous system here because that makes sure that the hand is actually working correctly. So today, in this talk, and I'm also going to show a demo, a very interesting one, where we are going to explore how Postman plus AI can actually completely transform the way we build APIs. So traditionally, if you will see, and if I will even ask you a question, like simple question, like, designing, testing, and documenting APIs take how many days or how many hours, right? It would definitely be in, let's say, 3-4 hours or 2-3 days even, right? Based depending on the criticality and the criticality of that particular problem statement or the project that you're working on. And what if I tell you that with Postman agent mode, you can actually do most of those tasks that we are talking about in minutes using just natural language and AI? I know it sounds magical, but yes, we are definitely going to see that in the end. So please stay tuned. With that particular background where we talked about the agentic API development, I hope we all are again on the same page. When I say AI does not know things, what it does is it calls APIs. For example, if you can see this screenshot, it mentions that I'm on ChatGPT, right? And I ask it, what's the weather like this weekend in NYC, right? And what exactly agent is going to do here is agent is going to make a call to a weather API, get the data, and then format that response in a natural language, right? So, what exactly again it is doing is it is not thinking or knowing, but what the agent is doing here is it is orchestrating, right? So, it is orchestrating the information available on the internet from different resources, and then it is giving back that response to us, right? Okay. Now, let's go into a little bit basics of agents architecture, what exactly it comprises of, to help us understand about the architecture in a better way so that we can utilize the agent mode in a better way, right? So every agent has four essential parts. The very first one is the LLM, which basically does the thinking for the agents, or you can also say like it is the brain, right? LLM is basically the brain. Next one is we have context. So context basically means that AI always needs a structured, not just human readable, but also machine readable instructions. And on that point, I also want to add that if in this particular era you think that just creating human readable docs will do the part and will do the work, so that's not, I'm sorry to say, but yeah, that's not at all correct. In this particular time, your documents, your things that you work on, the projects that you work on, it's very important that they are not just human readable, but they are also machine readable instructions. So that, because if you're expecting a response from a machine, then you also have to make sure that it is machine readable as well, right? So that's where the context part comes in as part of the agent's architecture. Then we have tools. What exactly tools does? Basically, tools are what agents can actually do. For example, like call an API or generate tests on my behalf, right? And that's what tools do, and tools enable to do, right? And then there is planner. So basically, planner decides what action comes next, right? Like what exactly will be the next step, and then it will basically provide the follow-up question or the follow-up response, and then you can actually go ahead and continue with the decision making part of it. So this structure is same, almost same, like if not 100%, but yes, 99% same across all AI agents, including Postman's agents architecture as well. And let's look at it how. Now, because we are talking about agent mode, like we are talking about agents in general, I think it's also very important to address the elephant in the room, and that is MCP, and just getting a little bit context of what exactly MCP is. So I hope you all by now, would know what exactly is the full form of MCP. Anyone, you can just go ahead in the comment section and add it. Like, what exactly is MCP, or what do you think? Like, what is your definition of MCP? Or you can just go ahead and the definition of MCP, if you want to, like, sorry, not the definition, but even the full form, like what exactly is your understanding of the word MCP. Cool. So MCP, or Model Context Protocol, it is an open framework that standardizes how AI models interact with external tools, APIs, and data sources. If this did not make sense, I have a very interesting example, which I always love to tell and share whenever I'm trying to explain the concept of MCP. So let's take a look at it. Now, what I want you all to do is I want you all to think of MCP as the USB Type C of the AI world. So before USB Type C, you needed different cables for different types of connections, right? For example, HDMI for displays, USB Type A for data, lightning adapters for Apple products, and various different types of power adapters, right? And similarly, before MCP, developers had to build custom connections for each AI model and each service they wanted to integrate with, which is, of course, like a very time consuming process that created like a vendor lock in. Because once you decide to go with a better model, once you go and decide to add a new function or new feature, you have to do that manual task of making sure that all of these custom connections work for that particular feature. And that created vendor lock in as well. So, just as USB Type C, now, thanks to the European committee, right? They basically now we have USB Type C as a standard, and USB Type C actually lets you connect countless devices with a single standard, right? That is this particular standard that was created, right? And similarly, MCP creates a universal adapter between the AI models and the digital world. So what you can do is, in short, you can build a connection once and use it with any compatible model. And especially in this particular era where, we see next, we see all the new models coming in within a span of 1 day or 2 day, right? From different AI providers, right? So I think it's one of the very important things, right? That we need to do and we need to be compatible with. That is, to build like a standard where we can basically build this connection once and then use it with any compatible model. Okay, now coming back to our topic, that is agentic API development. Now, I want to address and I want to talk a little bit about the current scenario. What exactly are the potholes or what exactly are the problems which are currently faced by developers at multiple stages of the AI agent building process? The very first one is the seek out reliable and up to date data. That is again very important. Then we have navigate fragmented documentation, because there is just so much of data and they all are fragmented in different parts. For example, if I'm working on a single API, I have to open 3-4 different tabs, and all of them, one of them are to perform the operations, one of them are to check the monitor, one of them are basically one of these are basically to see the health check and all of that, right? So I'm doing the same task. I'm working on the same project, but I have to juggle between different uh, tabs just to get that particular work done and just to get those work completed and those sub tasks completed as part of that particular project. Then, of course, write extensive custom coding. Again, a very important point, which is of course currently a very major problem as well, right? Which is faced by developers. And assemble multi-step integrations. So these are some of the common problems that are currently faced by developers, because the problem is that as developers, we really want to focus on some important tasks, that is, let's say, like addition of a new functionality or a new feature, rather than working on these particular repetitive tasks, like managing your the breaking APIs, the changing APIs, and extensive code writing and all of that. Now, what if I told you, and what if I basically told you that the API development bottlenecks could actually be handled for you? What does that mean? That basically means, like, imagine a world where all those bottlenecks, the in terms of writing tests, in terms of writing different repetitive tests for each particular project, and generate all of those things. What exactly could happen is that we could write, like, the test could be written themselves. Documentation can be generated automatically. So that means you describe an API in one sentence and the structure is instantly ready. Like, sounds magical. Not just that, but the errors, so they don't just appear, they actually get fixed for you. And your entire workflow keeps context from starting to finish. So I think that all sounds magical, right? But just to give you a good news, that's exactly what Postman Agent Mode does. It is Postman's AI agent that turns manual API work into automated, governed workflows that your teams can trust. So now let's talk a little bit about Agent Builder. Actually, not just talk, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to get started with the hands-on part. And from there, I'm actually just going to directly get started with the with the demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open my page. I'm just opening Postman. I hope you all can see Postman on my screen. Okay, let me check. Yes, all good. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm just going to change the theme. I am a night theme person, like the dark mode person, but yes, I know, like, for uh for sessions and for talks, this works well. So yes, I'm back here and I'm going to go to homepage. Okay. Any one of you who are seeing this for the very first time, just letting you know that this is how the Postman UI looks like, and what it has different parts like home, workspaces, API network, and everything. Now, what we are interested right now in is the agent mode. So here you can see, the moment I open postman.com, I see, hey, how are you doing? And how would you like to use Postman today? Right? So what exactly I can do is, that means I can just get started by saying what exactly I want to do with Postman today, and then we can get the work started. And I can actually treat Postman agent mode as my co-worker, who and we both can work together on the project or on the task that we actually are assigned for today or we want to work on today. For example, not just that, you can also see that they also have, like, we also have it mentioned, like, the most common suggestions to get started with. For example, right now, let's go ahead and choose this. That is, I want to create a new API from scratch. Okay. Now, I will go ahead, and one thing that I also forgot to mention, that it is very important in this particular era that we know how to do proper prompting, right? Like, we understand the importance of prompting. So we just don't, like, again, make it human readable, but we also have to make sure that the the agent understands it well, and it is able to execute those tasks without, like, with least friction, right? Of course there will be friction, there can be, right? Because we are, like, it is machine and we are human, but the best way to actually work on that, to make it better, is going to be to write and to be really better and good at writing prompts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get started and work on writing the agent a little bit of prompt. For example, here it just mentions that I want to create a new API from scratch. Now, this is good for a great start, but I know what exactly I want to work on. And in a normal scenario, of course, you know what exactly is the API that you want to work on. What exactly are the things that you really want to build, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to get here. Okay. And then I will mention what exactly are my requirement. So for here, I come and then I add, I need to design an API. It's going to be a little long, but yes, that's going to play a very important role in long term. So let's take some time to write a very good prompt. I need to design an API for, let's go ahead and build an AI agent management system. So let's go ahead and say I need to design an API for an AI agent management system. Okay. And now what exactly is the next important thing? So of course, I want to now give it like a set of instruction, what exactly it needs to do. So let's go ahead and share that. So what I want it to do is generate an open spec, generate an open spec with the following endpoints. So we are going to now define what exactly are the tasks that we are expecting this particular management system to do. So let's define that. Of course, we need to be very clear here with all the things, because one good thing and one even can be a pretty overwhelming thing is that if we don't define these things well, AI agent is going to like, predict, right? That's what exactly it does. So if we don't be specific with what exactly is our requirement, it is just going to help, it is just going to overwhelm us with a lot of different things that we might not even want to work on. So yes, let's be very specific in terms of what exactly we want. So of course, we want it to have like, let's say, list all the agents. So yes, list all agents. That is going to be the first task. Then second is going to be what? For this particular one, for an agent system, I think the ability to create a new agent. Then third is going to be see the running status and the running tasks, right? See the running tasks. And fourth is going to be the system check, the health check, right? We can also say like a system or health check. So system check. And yeah, I think that's it. So system check and health check of agents. And now let's get started. So let's click, we have written our prompt here. And it's very important. I'm also going to just add it here. Ask any questions. Ask questions, if any, so that it just does not end up like thinking and just producing the result. Okay, now once I send hit, you can see what I have here is I have on the right hand side, it opens a chat kind of scenario for me, right? Where I can actually just go ahead and see what exactly it does. And here you can also see in live what exactly it is doing, right? For example, it mentions debug log, relevant terms, what exactly agent is doing like internally in order for us to in order to help us. So the questions it has asked is agent properties. What attributes should an agent have? For example, ID, name, status, or type or model, created and updated at. So let's mention first answer as all of the above because we want all of these features. So let's add all of the above. Then second is task properties. For running tasks, what information do you need? Like the task ID, the agent ID, and the status, input, output, started at, and completed at. I think we will go ahead with the task ID, agent ID, and this one. So yes, let's just add this here as the answer of the second question. Then third one, health check details. What should the health system check return? Simple status, healthy or unhealthy. CPU detailed metrics per agent, health or system wide. Okay, so I think we can go ahead and choose these two options because these will be, I think these sound much more helpful and easy. The next question is authentication. So should the API include authentication? Yes, obviously, like it's very important. So I'm going to go ahead and choose API key as the option here. Additional operations, do you need any of these? Get a single agent by ID, update an agent? Yes. So it should have CRUD operation, CRUD status. So it can perform all of these status. Next question is also base URL. Yes. Use any preference. So let's mention here no. Use base URL as a variable. Okay, let's go ahead and see. So it says, let me know your preferences or I can proceed with sensible defaults for an AI agent management system. Let's click on hit and let's see what exactly we get. Okay, so you can see you can see in real time what exactly is happening. It has mentioned that this is my requirement. So it mentions that I will create a comprehensive open API specification for your AI agent management system with all the details you have created. And now you can also see in real time that what exactly it is doing. So as you can see, this is at the step currently where it says it is creating an API specification. So just to tell you what exactly we can do here is that this is the side panel of Postman. And to see what exactly we are doing is you can just, in case you don't see when you're on Postman, in case you're not able to see all of those things, what you can do is you can just come to this configure workspace sidebar And here you can add the panels here based on your your use case. For example, right now I need collections, environments, history I can remove from here. I will go ahead and choose APIs, mock servers for sure, flows not needed right now, not needed right now, and that's it. Okay, so I'm here, and now I can go ahead and come to the specs part of it, right? And what you will see here is that we actually have an open API spec created just within a span of seconds while we are talking. And I think if you have worked previously on these, on generation of an open API spec, or for any smaller like big project, you know that how hectic it can get, right? And especially for this particular task where we have a couple of functionalities as part of this particular API, we were able to do it, and we were able to achieve that within a span of seconds while I was just, going through the other parts, right? So now what it does is, let's come back here, and it says I have created a complete comprehensive AI agent management system API. Let's go ahead and check that. So yes, we can see that we have it here, right? And then that is created. It has different categories. So you can see that our API has the ability of doing different tasks, that is performing the CRUD operations: list all agents, create agent, get agent by ID, update agent, and delete agent. And yes, if you will actually go ahead and try doing it in manual way, like where you go ahead and create a folder, then go ahead and add each each request, you know how time taking it would be, right? So yes, that's how easy it became. When we were just talking, we just mentioned about our requirements, what exactly we wanted to do, and agent mode was able to help us with all of that within a span of seconds. Now, let's see what exactly is the next task, and what exactly it mentions here. API key authentication via XAPI key is added. So now you can see that this is not like, this is currently unresolved, and we are going to work on the next step, right? So we definitely want to add a variable here, and we want to be able to work on the next part. So it also mentions what exactly would be my next steps, right? Generate a collection from this spec to start testing the API, create a mock server to simulate API responses. So in this particular, or in a practical scenario, like let's say we are working as a team, and I'm working on the back end, someone is working on the front end, and then there are different teams, right? So we all need to work on a specific project or on a specific particular task or a website, right? And what we all need to do is that rather than waiting for each other on getting those tasks done, so that we can actually start, the front end team, for example, can start with the UI part. So it is waiting for the back end team to get and to finish up the work for the back end part. That sounds very slow process, right? So what we can do is, we can actually go ahead and start creating a mock server to basically simulate the API responses. So it will be like a set which is already created for you, like a scenario, where the actors are not there, but the set is already ready. And the moment the actors come, then we can actually, so the moment the back end and everything combines, it will be working properly. But just to give an idea about the script to the actors, they just make a fake scenario, or like a real life scenario of how exactly the set would look like, and how will that condition look like. So let's go ahead and create it for us, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to get started, and couple of things which you really need to know. For example, right now, if I go ahead and ask it to create a mock server, it would actually go ahead and throw a error to me. Why? Because you will also see, as part of this agent mode, like the agent mode part, it also fetches the resources, right? So what exactly it is going to use as a resource in order to operate on that particular part, right? So for example, right now I have chosen list all agents because I'm on this particular request. That's why it all only has that as a resource or a knowledge, right? So it can only execute on that. And of course, we cannot just create a mock server for a single request. So what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to click on agents API, right? And once I'm here, you can see this changes in lifetime. And now the resource log is this, that is the context tab, which we also discussed in the agents architecture. And now the context tab for this particular agent is the agents API request altogether, this particular folder altogether. So now it can execute and go ahead. We can go ahead and ask it to go ahead and perform the next tab. Okay, sounds good. Now, next, what we want is generate a Postman collect. Oh, sorry, the Postman collection is already done. So now next is this to create a mock server, to simulate the API responses. And let's see what it does. Okay, before that, one couple of important things while it actually is planning the next steps. You can actually go ahead and look at these like these different parts of the agent mode. For example, the AI model section. Here you can see you have the ability to choose your favorite models that you want to work on. For example, I have as a default here it all automatically chose Claude Opus 4.5 for me because that is the latest model, and that's how it default assigned it to me, right? Like default by default it is working on that particular model. You can also go ahead and change it based on your preference, and that is also the option that you have. Apart from that, okay, so that what exactly it mentions here is retrieved specification content specifically. Now I have the Open API specification content. To create a mock server, I need to first create a collection from this specification. So let me discover tools to generate a collection from the Open API spec. Okay, so it is going ahead and creating that. So let's give it some time. And then meanwhile, let's also click on the settings part. For example, here if you will go ahead and see at this moment, it is on auto run. Now, if I will actually because I was actually working on a project right before that, and that's why I enabled auto run. And what exactly is happening here is that if I just go ahead and switch this off, what will happen is from any next prompt that I will give it, it will basically ask me for an approval. So right now it was auto run. That means it won't ask me for an approval before creating a collection, right? Like it automatically did. It just automatically created the entire the entire collection and all the things for me. But what we can do is if we just toggle that off, we have the ability, if you want to get more control over what exactly are the actions that are going to be taken by the agent and you want to have control over it, you can actually just disable the auto run. By default it will automatically be disabled, but you can also toggle, like you can make it your preference based on what exactly are your requirements. For example, in this case, if I would have not switched on the auto run part, it would have asked me for approval for all of these requests that it has created. And that's why by default, I just chose to click on auto run so that it does not have to ask me for the permission to create all of these requests and tasks and everything. Okay, next part is configure MCP servers. One good thing is that you can also add MCP servers here. For example, if you will go ahead and see it here, you can actually generate a server. That also you can do here. You can work with different types of internal services, whatever APIs and whatever MCPs you already are working with currently, and you can also integrate that, how easy it looks like, right? So yes, you can also do that. Right now, for that, we are not going to work on the MCP servers part. But if you will go ahead and click on the more section, you can see more control over what all things you can do with this particular section, like that is already open, the agent mode, open on startup, and all the other details like code autocomplete, inline selection icon, and all these details. And of course, we are going to add more and more things on it based on because we are just getting started with agent mode, right? So we are definitely going to add more and more features on that. Okay, now, so I can see I have all of these created, right? The health check part, the list all agents, and everything is created. So let's go back and look at it. The collection was created successfully. Now I can see that the collection already exists with this particular ID. Now let me create the mock server for this collection. So it went ahead, and if we will go ahead and click on mock servers, you can see the latest one that says AI Agent Management System mock, right? And now that means mock server was created for us instantly, right? Within a span of, I think, let's say, I would like to say 45 to 60 seconds while I was talking about the features of MCP, right, on agent mode. So now this is created for us, right? Like you can see, this part is already created for us. Now we can go ahead and start working on our variable, just resolve it and then get started with it. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are just going to toggle this here, and then I have created a mock server for your agent system. Here it is. Mock URL is this, and then access public, no authentication is required at the moment, and then all of the things are here. Okay, So now what I'm going to do is, of course, I need to work on environment part so that, we can actually set the mock URL. So let me go here and come to this particular part, and then we need to of course resolve this. So yes, let's go ahead and give it the next action. That is going to be this. Again, very important, change the context to the collection itself and not just a particular request. Okay. So yes, let's do that. So now we have asked it to go ahead with the next step, that is to create an environment with the base URL variable and set it to the mock URL. And you can see it's already created it, and you can see it live. You can just go ahead and see this is already created. AI agent management system base URL is now here. And then we can actually go ahead and use it as a variable here, right? And we can use that. So now let's go back and see that, right? So if you will see, this is already here. Now what we can do is I'm just going to set that on a collection level, right? So select the environment and then go ahead. So let's come here and okay, I can see a couple of questions. Any limit on the number of mock servers? Yes, of course. As part of free plan, we have couple of limitations on what you can do, right? And that's why we have different plans for the different tiers and the different use cases that you want to work on. But yes, definitely there will be some limit on the generation of mock servers and other things in detail in terms of the free user, right? Because we also have to make sure that yeah, because of course, uh, anything regarding agents takes like of course we spend in dollars, so that's something which is really good. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not like nothing is going to be free. Of course, everything that I'm currently doing is as part of like the things that I can do without any problem, right? Like, and you can actually achieve it. But yes, if you are looking for using it on a regular basis or for multiple projects, then that definitely, it is, you will have to, you can definitely have the option to go ahead and upgrade or yes, like move to a suitable tier based on a base or suitable plans based on your use case. Yeah, absolutely. It will be limited according to the type of the plan that you are currently working on. Okay, now let's go ahead and yes, let's do it. So what currently we are doing is this one, right? So yes, it is already assigned and it is assigned on the global level. So I'm going to come here and okay, and let me just go ahead. It should have automatically been done. Let me quickly just do a refresh because it showed that it seems to be I'm offline for some reason. Okay. Another thing, if you went like, for example, I just went here and I just did a refresh because I went offline for a the like it told that I was offline for some time. So what I did was you can actually go ahead and now you can see a blank screen, right? But what you can do is you can actually see an option that says history. So you can go ahead and choose where you left from. So for example, this is the place where we were, right? And now we can actually get started with where exactly we left. Okay, so now we are here and let's go ahead and see the overview part of it. Let's come to variables and now let's assign that. Okay. Uh, why exactly it went ahead? Okay, let me just quickly copy it from here. And then if you see, I think something went wrong because I became offline for a, it showed that I was offline, but let me go ahead and add that as part of here because it already has mentioned it, right? And that's why. So let's go ahead and create this. We have it created and let's go ahead and see that. Yeah, perfect. So now once we are here, you can see the base URL is now resolved and it has the value that we saved right now, right? And that agent mode gave us. So now I'm going to just quickly come over here and send this request. And yes, woohoo, we got our very first 200 okay, which is itself like is a very big win for us at the moment, right? Because we just went ahead and implemented what all was done, what exactly we instructed the agent mode to do, and that's how it was able to do it for us, right? And I think same thing, right? So now you can see our API is all good, and now we can actually share this with our front end team so that they exactly know what exactly is going to happen, and they can start working on the front end part without waiting on the back end team to complete with other tasks, right? And they can take it as a reference, and they can work on the UI part and the front end part of that particular API. How simple it was, right? Now, not just that, even when we talk about, let's say, let me come over here. Yeah, even when I mention that, let's say there is some error, right? Which I actually can, let's say if I made an error, let's say I come over here in the body section and I make a mistake over here, right? So even if I make even if I make a response, what will happen is, even if I get, like, for example, let's say I do that. So get a single agent. Okay, create a new agent. And now I want to specifically get like a error type here. So what I can do is I will come to, not this. Let me come to another one. Okay. And now let's say I am going to disable this part where I don't have the value defined, right? And I hit send, save it and hit send. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what exactly happened right now is that even if I get like a 404 error or 400 okay, what exactly agent mode can do is it can basically work on top of it, and it can tell me what exactly, go ahead and debug it on my behalf and see what exactly went wrong, give me the analysis of the things or the API responses that I got, and then also help me with the monitor to run that. But yes, overall this was like a very small use case of I would not say small, but this was like a very practical use case of how teams in general work around with Postman and APIs, and how they can basically get the things done within a span of minutes, in terms of which actually would have taken them hours and hours of debugging and back to back like running code and extensive coding, right? So yes, that was all about the demo part. Now if you really want to learn more about AI agents, you can actually go ahead. We have a full-fledged YouTube playlist which actually includes like different use cases of using agent mode. Like for example, this use case was like a full-fledged practical use case of how different teams can collaborate on APIs and how they can work on it. But you can actually go ahead and look at different use cases based on your specific project, and then you can get started with agent builder on top of it. And yes, that was it from my side. Thank you so much for being a patient and lovely audience. I really had a great time demoing AI Agent Builder. And yes, now if you have any questions, I'm all open to answer a few of questions. Otherwise, I'm super excited to meet you all in the hackathon. And if you have any questions, if you have any idea, if you want to discuss about the ways you can use AI agent, Postman agent mode on, I'm super happy to brainstorm, help you with that, and also like mentor based on your problem statement that you're working on. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much. And yes, you can connect with me here. This is the link to my Linktree, where you can find the link to all my socials. And yes, I'm super excited to connect with you all. And yeah, that was it from my side. Thank you so much. I'm just going to look at the comment section if we have any questions. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Subro. Is Postman the only, yeah, let me see, the only one with an AI API agent? You definitely need to do a Google search for it. For now, I definitely think that Postman took this in a very rocket speed format, where we just went ahead and started to implement that, and our wonderful engineering team actually was quite has been shipping on rocket speed. But yes, you can go ahead and look at go do a Google search for sure. I know that the ability that Postman agent mode provides is definitely like very unique, and you won't be able to like at this moment. I'm sure I'm pretty much sure. I'm not sure about the latest state because of course everything is changing within minutes. But yes, as of now, as of my knowledge, definitely we are doing this firsthand, and yeah, we are the very first one to definitely implement this all over on our single platform. Okay. At the same time, thank you so much for also participating in this swag giveaway that we ran during the live. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to go ahead and select the top 5 tweets, and I'm going to DM you all. So make sure that your DM is open. So I'm just going to DM you with a follow-up form which you can submit, and then we are more than happy to acknowledge your participation and ship you some cool swags from Postman. Awesome. If we don't have any more questions, that was it from my side. Thank you so much and have a great rest of the night. Bye bye.